Willkommen, bienvenue, and welcome back to Opus Magnum with Lyte. Today, we're looking at Mist of Hallucination. This one's a little weird. It's not infinite or anything, but the shape is a little odd. You got a wibbly-wobbly chain of air in the middle and two different metals on the side. I'm not sure if this is based on something or... I just don't know where this one came from, but it's a little bit odd. But the construction is generally straightforward for this cheap solution, where you've got yourself 3 pieces of track and a static arm such that you can work with this glyph. You could go for a piston, but the piston's going to be more expensive. And you're not going to be able to do this with less track because, well, fixed arm needs to get to all 3 locations, and, well, to be able to get to all 3 locations, you need 3 pieces of track. Yeah. It doesn't have to be this orientation of 3 pieces of track. I believe you can get by with having 3 like this, because you'd be able to get to this one from here, this one from here, and then this one from there. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a triangle, but you still need 3 pieces of track because the arm itself can't change, and the only way for it to change which one it reaches through rotation is by being length 1, and the only way length 1 works is with 4 pieces of track. That's just no good. So the only other thing that really gets in the way with this particular sort of arrangement is that once you've got something of this size, you can't hold it here and rotate it through. Once it gets to this rotation here, trying to move it to this rotation here collides with the arm. And so whenever I rotate it, I have to grab it by somewhere else and rotate it through. But there are plenty of opportunities and plenty of places where you can actually grab it in those sorts of other locations to be able to make it not collide with anything. And so, nice cheap solution, sends it down into the bin. You're not getting any cheaper than this. And this one I worked on very recently, so I knew going in that this was probably as cheap as you were going to be able to do it with this glyph in play. And so, when we've got our nice cheap solution, let's get to a nice small solution. Here's 20 area, where we've got the exit, and then we nestle things in with the bin when trying to build it. Because this way you can get some nice overlap on your exit and hopefully save yourself quite a bit of space. So here we are, we're getting down to 20. We build it piece by piece, but as you can see right there, we end up adding 3 empty hexes, one of which felt pretty necessary for this alignment. We might not have needed to pull it all the way down into here, but having to use this hex seems fairly necessary. But this is not the smallest area I got, because this one led to thinking about, well, how would we get rid of these 3? Well, you do that by moving this stuff over to the other side. Whenever you've got some that are not being used, see whether or not you can just use them. And so that's where we get our little unicycle, which looks like one of those motorized unicycles that you might have seen in Scrap Mechanic. And so here, since we nestle the things in the crook in here instead of the crook over here, everything that you assemble can be stored on top of the exit while waiting for final assembly. The only unused, the only hex that is wasted is this one up here, and unfortunately, I don't see how to avoid it. Because you've got this shape that needs to be bound, and so you need to use this area. So the only way that you would be able to get away with not using that is perhaps if we take this and rotate it up. So the question becomes, is it possible to reduce this by 1 more by rotating this up here? into a place where it's really quite annoying to use and get to, and then move this lead up here. Is there anything that goes here besides lead? It really doesn't seem like it. And so if we have the lead start here, and then we put this up here, we'll save ourselves one further area. Let's see if it works. So what we do is we take it, we copy it, we open it back up, and we go, okay, so what we're doing is this. It might not be necessary to have this here. We could put it up there such that it's a shorter walk for the leads. But I'm not sure it really matters. And then what we're going to have to do is delete all of the stuff because none of it is accurate anymore. And even if it is, trying to track down what it's doing will take more time than just doing it again. I start on the air because it helps for the resets. It's not strictly necessary, but it doesn't hurt. So we'll grab it, move it to the left, push it out, and drop it onto the binder right here. And then we will pull back, turn to the left, and grab the lead and move it onto the binder. So we have lead and air on the binder, which we drop, push, grab, rotate a little bit, and then push out one further. And then we reset. So this should leave us with a lead here and air there. Brilliant. Next up, we're going to build this air and this tin and leave them here. So once again, we grab, left, left, push, drop. Then we pull, left, grab. Ooh, we probably don't want to do the air. It's fine. So we'll grab the lead, we will push it out, we will shift over and then push it out again. And drop it. Then we're going to reverse that. Pull, plus, pull, and then grab, push, drop. So that will make a tin right here. And so we shift, grab, pull. So we now have a tin here and an air there. So what we're going to do is then rotate that to the left, drop, shift, turn, grab. Yes. Pretty sure that's going to work. Then we will rotate it over, rotate it back, push, reset. Oh, we don't want to reset. We just want to drop. Because what we're going to do is then rotate this down. Well, pull it down and rotate it back out. And then we're going to pull this over such that it's together. And then we'll move it back up in here. So let's make sure this works. Brilliant. So from there, we pull, turn, push, push, grab, pull, rotate, which we'll put it here, and drop. And then we need to pull once more, turn to the right, push, grab, pull. So that should leave it like this. From here, we will drop it, turn, grab it, and rotate it. So instead of being here, it will be here. Then we push it out, and then shift it over. Push out, shift over. And there we are. So now we build this last part, put it over here. Because we're going to need to pull this over first and then this, because we don't have room to pull this over from here. Like if we have our piston here, we can't move this directly to the left. So we're going to have to build it and then move it over here. So we reset to be able to grab the air. Grab, left, left, push, reset, grab, left, left. We now have bonded air. We rotate it to the left, rotate the piston to the right, rotate it to the left again, and push it and drop it. So that should leave it right here. Okay. So from there, we pull back, we shift to the right, we rotate to the left, push, grab, shift. So we have this now here. Then we drop it right there. The reason I keep pulling back before shifting over is because if I leave it here and shift to here, it'll grab this hex. So we pull, rotate, push, grab, pull, push, drop. So that'll pull this in here, bind it with the other bit, and push it onto the exit. So that should be one complete product. Brilliant! Why is it still Area 16? Because it never seems to want to reset the way it's supposed to. Ah, there it was. All of these resets you need to pay close attention to, because sometimes they just do not do what they're supposed to. So here, pull, and then we need to instead do plus, right, right, instead of right, right, plus. This one I think might have been okay. And there we are, with 15 area instead of 16. Where you just look at which ones aren't being used and see if there's a way to use them. And then by moving something around, you move something else and end up using just a tiny bit less space. Now it looks different, so I don't really know what to call it, but it kind of looks like a lunar lander, so I think I'm probably going to call it that. Rename Lunar. And so there you have a 15 area solution. Every single space was a useful item, so you're not going to be doing better than 15. However, you might be able to do it faster. Now, granted, our 15 area solution was faster than our 16 area solution, but not as fast as our 20. So through better programming or better arrangement, you might be able to get it done a little bit quicker, which is just an objectively better solution. So if you have such an objectively better solution, feel free to share it with us down in the comments, over on Twitter or on Discord. Always happy to see them. So we've got our cheap and we've got our small. Let's take a look at our first attempt at fast, because I love this little sewing machine thing. I love how it just goes back and forth and makes the thing you need. It's probably got more arms than you necessarily need for these sorts of solutions, but I just love what it does, and I love how early on I found it, so there's a little bit of a sentimental attachment to it. But for once, it actually made exactly what I needed for the problem. Unfortunately, it is a little bit slow. It's really quite fast. Don't get me wrong, it is really quick. Because you take this guy, and it's always pulling. But this last one, let's look at the last one. So we grab and go 1, 2, 3, 4. Anytime you get to 4, you're like, can I do better? Can I get it down to 2? I really want to get it down to 2. And so where's the problem? So when we pull this out, it takes another cycle to grab this product. And you can't pre-grab it because all of it is moving every single cycle. So there's no pre-grabbing that you could really do, except potentially right here. So whichever guy this one is, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 might be able to take it from here, pull it to here, and then pull it one further. Maybe. But even then, this guy will still be right here, which means you would need to bond the tin and or the lead and the tin onto these two, which unfortunately will be right here. And if they are here, that means the tin would need to be bonded where this arm is. And then the lead up here. That's no good. And you can't switch it around because you can't bond the tin onto here. Except maybe with a multi-bonder, but even then, it's a big old mess. Might be possible. If you can do it, like I always say, I would love to see it. But say we did that, and we had to bind the tin here onto this guy, that means... wait, it would need to be on the other side. So the tin would somehow need to be here? Yeah, it would need to be here. And you're not breaching this fortress with that lead. That's just not going to happen. So we need to find a way of getting this last one out faster. And so I went to something that I did in an earlier solution that was really fun, and I love the way it looks, where we have two arms that move in concert. So they move up and back and forth together, moving two atoms or two groups of atoms at the same time. And amazingly, I found another use for this 6-arm guy. I love using them, but I rarely get the occasion to. Because most of the time, my solutions don't really avail themselves of these without being nightmares. So what we need for this is to be able to pull it from where it is down here up to the lead and tin in one go. And so we grab the first one with this little arm and pull it out. Then we grab two of them with these two arms and send them all the way up here. You'll see why in a second. Because since we kept everything really close, we didn't have a lot of ability to manipulate it later. But by taking it far away, we're able to do something a little bit different. And so from there, we drop it and then we bring it back. And that's what gives us this little curve. But now, these two arms are back in position to do another fancy two arms thing. And one thing that you learn about these fancy two arms things is that they rotate their contents. You're not going to get this pseudo L shape when you move them over. You, in fact, get this wibbly wobbly thing up here on this bonder. So let's watch that again. We get two, comes back, and then these go up as a wibbly wobbly thing into a place where you can bind the other stuff. And so through the use of two additional bonders, we're able to get the lead onto the end and the tin into the middle. Now, we need this guy here such that we can quickly and easily grab and shift from here onto these two. It might be feasible to have an arm here that does that, and then an arm on a track that does this, and then loops back. But the thing is, this is an arm that costs 30. An arm on 3 pieces of track costs 35. It's just more expensive. And it would be 2 arms on 3 tracks. So that's, what, 55 instead of 30. And it's just unnecessary. When you can just use this one thing and it's pretty darn cheap. And so they get into position at exactly the right time. That's kind of handy as well. And then this 6 is already holding on to the lead from having brought it from here, and so it just continues on and drops it. And so if we follow the last air, we have grab, 1, 2, drop. And yeah, that's pretty much the best you're going to do, because you attach it and then you drop it. It's the best that you can ever really hope for, is your last thing that is generated as fast as possible to come out and then immediately head to the exit. No additional grabs, no additional rotations, no extra bonds or extra slices. It's just good to go. Now, it took a while to get the hang of this part in here, because it's a weird thing to have it move back and forth using these same 2 arms. But I really wanted to do something with this big arms thing again. And this was a good chance to do it. And so we've got ourselves a very fast solution. I don't see how you could get it faster than that. You might be able to make it cheaper by using fewer bonders, fewer arms, fewer things. You might be able to make it smaller by not swinging quite as wildly. But I don't know. I haven't really looked. I haven't really tried. That's not necessarily my forte. When I get it fast, I like having the fast solution. I don't work too terribly hard making it smaller or cheaper. But there are those of you, I'm sure, that do. But that is all for the Mists of Hallucination, and I will see you in the next episode of Opus Magnum with Lyte.